Nerdtropolis. Nerdtropolis.
Mr. Robert Patrick, such a pleasure and honor to officially meet you.
What a pleasure. I feel like I've seen you before.
Maybe I run around the con circuit a lot. Maybe you saw me in passing.
Maybe.
I have not said hello to you in person yet until now. It's super exciting to see you starring in two fantastic shows right now that are right up my alley. That's for sure.
Oh, Peacemaker?
Oh, I think so. I think it's called that.
Peacemaker and Tulsa King. Yeah, I'm lucky. I got two out right now.
No, it's awesome. I've been hooked on Tulsa King since day one.
Yeah.
And your character.
Great premise.
It is. Jeremiah Dunmire is such a commanding presence this season. Great addition. I mean, Dwight's got it tough this season. I got to ask, how did this role come about? Was it Sheridan or Stallone that called you up?
It was David that called me up, and he asked me, and then when I got to the set and work with Sly, I found out that Sly had kind of been the one to pick me, I think, or at least been questioned about, what do you think about Robert? Having had worked with him, I think he knew what I was capable of. And he's certainly someone that in this business that I call a friend. So, I think our past working relationship might have had something to do with it. Not easy for him to find somebody to go toe-to-toe with. And he mentioned that the first day we were working together. So I'm certainly Copland had a lot to do with it.
Oh yeah, you've got a couple films together, and so it's exciting that that you are part of this, going head to head with them. I just love your character. I mean, it's
Me
different.
too.
It's very different from the other types of villains that you've done, and in this season,
It's so rich.
It's
so much too. There's so many layers, and they're doing such a great job of explaining it to me, or not explaining it, but of expositionally, capturing it for the audience. So it's amazing the way they're filming him. The writing for me is great. It's just juicy, and you can't help but get excited about it, man. It's like eating a nice ribeye. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh God, I can't believe they let me do this.
Yeah, and the demeanor of your character I really like. It's something different. And in the season with Dwight's empire expanding, and so the enemies, and obviously the Dunmires are no small threat. What excited you most about helping to raise the stakes with your character's involvement, being such a great asset to a show that's already gained popularity since day one?
Well, what a wonderful thing as an actor. You want to do your work and have it be seen. So I'm enjoying that very much. That people are big fans of this show. And the way they shot me, and I'm super excited about it. The protagonist needs a great antagonist, and they know that. They're smart storytellers, and they gave me every opportunity to exploit all these assets. So it's just such a great situation. I mean, it's an old friend that I've worked with before, so I'm very familiar with Sly. I feel comfortable around him. Great other actors around to work with. Annabella Sciorra, great to see her again from having worked. She was on Copland as well. Dana Delaney. I mean, it's just wonderful cast. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the best characters I've had in a long time.
I mean, you have many under your belt.
Sheriff McDowell and Taylor in 1923 was another great character. So there's a common denominator here. It's Taylor Sheridan. He's real adept at creating these wonderful environments to tell stories.
That's true. I'm waiting for the next Sheridan project that you pop in, and we need you in the Sheridan verse.
Yeah, man. Well, I have done 3 things with Billy Bob, so maybe hopefully I could see me doing something in Landman. So
I can too. I can too. That's
I've never really had an adversarial relationship with Billy Bob, playing his dad and stuff, but who knows, man? I'm just thrilled. I mean, there's no better place to be as far as an actor than working in the Taylor Sheridan world.
Yeah, I love everything he's delivering. And I have to ask, it seems like it, but do you enjoy the unpredictability of TV storytelling compared to some of the most straightforward when it comes to film?
Yeah, what's interesting, I touched on this earlier. today that, I didn't have all the scripts. I knew where I was going to start. And we fleshed out the character and created Dunmire, and they had explained to me who the guy was, and we took it from there and we ran with it. But I really didn't know what all was going to happen. So there were some things that were revealed to me as they're going, as you're reading the script, you're going, oh, wow, that's interesting. So there were some cool things that happened. One of which you're going to see the Attorney General, and he's one of the guys that I have control over that is now possibly going to. I don't want to be a spoiler guy, but let's just say he's the guy that I've had control over for a while, who's starting to get a little squirmy. And that was played by a dear friend of mine, Tim Guinea, who I had done some work with, and he's a friend of mine. I see him all the time. And that was a lot of fun. So there's some great characters coming down the pike.
I mean, Dunmire has a lot of people in his pockets, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
What do you think sets Tulsa King apart from other mob stories and other shows that, like I said, it's something different? I really still haven't figured it out, but I've loved it since like the first second I've watched it, and it gets better each season.
Well, the premise is so cool. I mean, it's, a guy that went away to prison to protect the family that he was a part of, only to be betrayed by that family and jettisoned out to Tulsa to make it on his own. I mean, talk about betrayal. I did 25 years for you, and this is what you do to me? You disrespect me like this after I held you in such high respect? And that's a great premise. And when you hear that, you go like, oh, this is going to be great for Sly. He hasn't had a character like this. And it's a totally different environment for him, because this is a whole new, way to tell stories. It's not like film. You don't have, 4 months to shoot a film. You have, a finite amount of days to shoot a whole heap of dialogue, and he's got to stay up on that because he's in every scene. And, that's got to carry out for like 10 minutes. He's working his butt off right now. So what a great challenge for him to take on.
Yeah, he is working his butt off. And so are you, honestly. You've been working, I feel like, even more and more of recent. You mentioned it. There's a little show called Peacemaker. I have to ask, was the Marine the last time you and John Cena crossed paths?
No, John and I, and that's another neat part of the story. James Gunn had saw the performance I did in Perry Mason for HBO, and HBO's been really good to me over the years with doing The Sopranos, and then he thought of me for that role. Unbeknownst to him, he had no idea that I had a past history of John Cena, and John and I liked each other, but we were protagonists, antagonists in the Marine. And then we had worked on Psych. We had done another thing where we worked on Psych, which was not quite so adversarial. And I had gone to watch John wrestle. I'd taken my son to watch John wrestle, and John was great to my son. So I had a friendship with John. And then lo and behold, we show up on the set together, and James finds all this out. I'm going to play his dad. And it was great. We had this chemistry to draw on. As a matter of fact, the first scene we shoot is when he comes back to my house for the first time coming out of jail. And we shot that with no rehearsal.
Wow. No, that is awesome. What struck you about him, about John, since you first, with the Marine, how much work he's put into creating, like building on his craft from those early days to now? I feel like there's been a big transition to his craft.
Well, he's a serious guy. He takes his craft very seriously, and he's obviously done a lot of work and learned a lot. And I think John is one of those rare guys that, he literally every day at the end of the day, he wants to know, what can I have done better? He's constantly looking to improve, and he does not rest on his laurels.
Yeah, I just love the chemistry with you, with anyone. Like every film you're in or show, anything that you're in, you play great across everybody. And I think everyone's better because of you. Wow. I think you helped elevate all your. That's a hell of a compliment. It's the truth. It's the truth. That show is, Peacemaker is famous for balancing this absurd comedy with real emotional weight. From your perspective, How does James Gunn manage to kind of keep that balance without undercutting some of the darker themes of that series?
James is a fascinating guy as a storyteller and writer, and I've asked James about his process, and he just has a real knack. James comes from a world where he likes all that. He has a wonderful heart. If you look at Superman and you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, he understands all that. He comes from a large family. James and I have become friends. Um, he's a big-hearted guy. He likes all that extreme stuff, but he understands, right and wrong, good and evil. And I think he's pretty irreverent the way he goes about it. I don't think he really has any. James. I'm going to quote him real quick, but James is, I'm not really trying to get Oscars. I'm just trying to entertain people. So that frees you up. It's not like he's just. I just want to make people have something fun to watch, and take their mind off their lives.
And if you want something fun to watch, you just got to get Robert Patrick in these shows. One other show that you were in I really liked was Reacher.
That was Paramount. That was Paramount Plus,
Prime,
Skydance.
Prime Video. And that had Alan Richardson, who I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, great guy.
What made him stand out compared to other leading men? You've worked with a lot of leading men with size, and Alan has a huge size. So what was something about him that really stood out to you?
Well, I really appreciated how hard he was. He's very much like John in the sense he was always trying to figure out how he could be better. And he was really conscious of the fight scenes and the sequencing and the way the camera moves. And he seemed to have a real drive to do that in a way and make it elevate that aspect of it as well. Great guy, wonderful guy to work with. Showed up, knew what was expected of him. Didn't complain. It's interesting. Talking about Sly as the number one. When you've got a number one like that that's leading the show and setting the tone for everybody else. If you show up and you're not prepared and you're dragging the ball, it's not going to go well. You know what I mean? The number one is so crucial. He sets the tone, and I think Alan is a great number one.
No, for sure. I haven't said it yet, but I think it's obvious. You made me fall in love with the Terminator films. I think the second film was the first one I saw because I was due to my age. But I know you get questions a lot about that franchise, but I have a different question actually, because I love that T2 3D battle across time attraction at Universal Studios.
Sure. Yeah. And that was fun.
It was groundbreaking. And I need to ask you, what was the most memorable or challenging part of working on a project that blended film, but a theme park spectacle on top of that to extend the story that was told in the film and just offer something for these people that love going to the park?
Well, it was fun. It was, in a way, that was James Cameron's sequel to Terminator 2 was T2 3D. And it was groundbreaking in the sense that, of course, it was being filmed in 3D. And it was going to be a ride kind of a thing. So, T2 was the first motion capture performance. It was an interesting thing to take that a step further. The main thing for me, what I remember of that time was that I was not in as good a shape. And all of a sudden now James is, he's got this idea of where you're going to run in those motorcycle boots and you're going to run after. And I was like, oh my gosh, James, I'm not as in good a shape as I was. You can't kill me with this stuff. You're going to get a couple of takes. That's all I'm going to be able to do. So let's make sure we do this right. That was kind of where I was at.
No, it's such a cool attraction. And I love revisiting when it was possible. Lastly, I want to, end on this. You built a career balancing this villainous intensity with surprising heart across TV, film, and even gaming culture. What has been the biggest constant in your approach to characters across all these mediums?
Wow. The biggest. Well, I just try to be truthful. I mean, I think that every one of us has dark and light, and I try to be able to access whatever I need to access. But I take acting very, very serious. I love the opportunity to explore and escape my reality into these characters, and I have fun doing it. It's what I wanted to do, and I feel like I've been very fortunate that I've been given the opportunity to do it, and I'm very grateful for it. So I don't know, maybe that's it. I just love it.
We are very grateful for you. Everything that you decide to do, we love it. And I can't wait to see more episodes of Tulsa King and Peacemaker and everything else. Mr. Patrick, thank you so much for your time today and hope we can do it again.
Absolutely. I look forward to it, buddy. Absolutely. Enjoyed it.